What's going on, guys? This is Mitch from Dumb Money Day Trading. GameStop update. Where we are today. Today we suffered another huge short attack, right? Short laddering all the way down, very low volume, which means none of us sold. So congratulations, guys. Super good work there. Super low volume, as you can see in the bars here. But they did manage to push the price right down to kind of the $80-ish dollars, finishing the night at 85. But as we can see, no big volume, no big change. Everyone is holding the line. This article came out over here from the Wall Street Journal around 3 p.m. today and was immediately taken down. I could not verify the source, cannot verify if it is a real article or not. But at the bottom of the article, we see here GameStop short interest is at 94.8% of shares outstanding, right? So the number is still super high. We went down from 138 down to 120, 115, and now this article is correct. We're at around 95% of the float, which is very, very, very high. Something special happened today, guys. Mark Cuban, billionaire investor from Shark Tank, joined us on Wall Street Bets for almost 2 hours, right? For an Ask Me Anything, and we kind of grilled him on what he thought of the situation, right? He came on to support us because of this GameStop saga, so many illegal things happening. He couldn't stand it himself, so he took time out of his day to come and mentor us and kind of tell us what he thought of what's going on. So very, very special of him to do that, right? And so the first question is kind of, what do you think of the situation? What's going on? Why is the share price like this? And then Cuban says, supply and demand. But in this case, it literally could be because the source of the demand has been crippled. When Robinhood shut it down, then cut it back, let's put aside why, right? They cut the greatest source of demand. They created the Robinhood drive. No Robinhood buyers means sellers lower their price to find buyers, and they keep on lowering it until they find buyers. And so if you keep the most natural buyers out of the market, the price keeps on falling. And then we'll just kind of skip down here. And what will we do, right? Particularly with GME in this particular situation. He says, if you can afford to hold the stock, you hold. And then he says, I don't own it, but that's what I would do, right? So Mark Cuban has been in tons and tons of this situation with short sellers already. He knows exactly how they operate. He knows exactly how to beat them. And his advice to us is hold the line. And then the question is why? And the answer is because when Robinhood and the other online brokers open it back up to buyers, then we will see what Wall Street Bets is really made of. Then you get to make it work. And then he says, I have no doubt that there are funds and big players that have shorted this stock again, thinking they are smarter than everyone on Wall Street Bets, right? So he's pretty much alluding to some of the older shorts may have gotten out, but new shorts may have taken positions at these higher prices, right around the $350, $400, $500 mark. New shorts may have joined the game, which increases the short interest, right? So very, very important information right here. And he says, I know you're going to hate to hear this, but the lower it goes, the more powerful Wall Street Bets can be, stepping up to buy the stock again. And he says, the only question is, what broker do you use? Do you stay with Robinhood, who is going to have the same liquidity problems over and over again, or do you find a broker with a far, far better balance sheet that won't just cut you off, and then you guys can go ham on Wall Street? So very, very good information and advice here. Hold the line, and he expects that the short interest is probably going to be higher than we expect. And kind of his final thoughts just to wrap up. Kind of thanks Wall Street Bets for doing what they do, kind of changing the game, changing the world, inspiring everyone all around, including his kids. And he says again, like when you load up, this is not going to be the first battle. There's going to be many battles. Even GameStop, there's going to be many battles before we win this war. Right now, everyone is gravitating from Robinhood to like Fidelity, Vanguard, those types of brokerages there. And he says here at the very bottom, when you load back up, fight with a broker with trillions of dollars in assets on their balance sheet, someone that can be there when the fight starts and won't blink an eye. He goes on to say, no disruption is easy or happens in a straight line. He says, stay with it. I am a believer. So that is super awesome that Mark spent 2 hours with us this morning. Time is the most valuable asset that this man can have, that we have, right? So it is amazing that he spent 2 hours of his time with us today. I want to direct your attention to This next chart here. Right afterwards, he goes on CNBC and kind of sticks up for Wall Street bets, and he says, hey, these guys are real, these guys are here to stay, these guys are going to change the game. And he likes what we're doing, and he supports it, which is very, very amazing. So we are kind of right here in the saga of GameStop. I don't know if you guys know the story of William Wallace or watched that movie from Braveheart several years ago, but it's a story of a Scottish commoner, and he rises up, he raises an army to fight against his English oppressors, right? So back then, England was, England owned Scotland pretty much, right? And so they're kind of oppressing them in Scotland, and so all of the nobles, the Scottish nobles, are a little bit afraid, right? Because they have land and title given to them by the English, right? And they don't want to lose that. They don't want to rise up and fight and lose all their land and privilege. But William Wallace, a commoner, he had nothing to lose. He stood up and he said, this is wrong. We're going to fight and take back our country. And because of his bravery and courage, and as well as his smarts, right, he gathered a very loyal group of soldiers around him, and that his name grew and grew and grew every battle that he won, just outsmarting the English again and again and again, just because his men trust him implicitly and loyally. And in one of the scenes, most memorable scene of the movie, was when England sends an army to take out William Wallace, right? So this army is armored, heavy armored cavalry. So they have horses, like hundreds of horses, all fully armored men with like big ass spears that will kill you before you can even get close to the horse, right? Because remember, these guys were common guys, right? They just had like swords and axes. They didn't have horses. They didn't have armor, like not the armor that the English had, which is crazy. And so no one had any idea of how to defeat heavy armored cavalry because no one has ever seen it done before. The English has pretty much taken over the entire continent with this type of army and this type of warfare. And William's like, we're gonna make spears, and everyone's like, spears? He's like, yes, spears. And he's like, spears 2 times as long as a man. And everyone's 2 times as long as a man. Where are you gonna find spears that long? He's like, we're gonna make them. And they go to the forest, cut down trees, and make these super long spears. And this has never been done before. Everyone is super dubious. Everyone's doubting him, but they also trust him, right? They trust in his instinct. They trust in his smarts. And in this scene, tons of heavy cavalry are charging down the field at William Wallace and his army. And so impending death, impending doom is just staring them in the face, charging closer and closer and closer. And William is just like, hold, and until the very last second, he goes, now, and everyone picks up their spears all together, right before the last minute, before the horses can stop and retreat, and they just spear the whole first line of horses. And that is how William Wallace defeated the heavy army, the heavy cavalry, right, of the English, which is amazing. It was never ever done before. No one ever imagined that it could be done. And that's kind of where we are right now, right? So this whole section here, illegal activity, false narrative here, buying up paid media, trying to divert attention, freezing out the markets, only allowing selling, no buying allowed, all brokerages shutting down, and then here just kind of short ladder attack, hedge funds selling to each other at lower and lower prices, driving the stock down. But we notice here with very low volume, so we held the line, which was amazing, right? And this is kind of what Wallace did with his guys there. Now I want to show you a graph here of a similar type of move. So this is Volkswagen some years ago, back in 2008. They also had a short squeeze. It's a little bit different than ours, but the concept is the same, right? Very high short float, and there's also very few shares available on the open market, which is what is happening right now because we own most of the shares. Every single short ladder attack, we're buying these shares here, which means there are fewer and fewer shares for the hedge funds to cover with, right? Eventually they're going to need to cover, and when that happens, they're going to need to buy back our shares at a higher price. And right now we're just collecting more and more shares as we go. Volkswagen started the squeeze, little blip, another blip, and it came all the way back down. Right here is probably a whole lot of market manipulation, a lot of fear and deception. It came right back down to where it started. I don't know if you guys noticed similarities, but here's where the move started. We moved up, we came right back down to where we started, right? So very similar to the Volkswagen move. And right here is where we hold the line, diamond hands. And eventually, we time it properly, we squeeze them, and we make them play by our rules, and they cover, right? And the victory will be glorious. I'm going to just play that clip. I don't even know if I can legally do that on the stream. But this is the scene that I'm talking about right here. This is William. This is his army standing beside him. This is the English cavalry. These are the hedge funds crashing down on William's army, right? They're getting closer and closer and closer. William's army is getting super nervous. They don't even know what to do. They've gotten so far. They've never imagined they would get this far. But now they're staring death in the face. They're staring at this English heavy cavalry charging at them. This is where all the fear and deception comes in. Market manipulation. Shutting down the brokerages. Only allowing us to sell. Putting out false news in the media, buying every single news outlet out there. Short ladder attacks, just hammering us. And they're standing here. William's army is standing here strong and firm in belief of what they're doing. And here comes the heavy army charging on them. And William's just like, hold. And he's hold. And death is staring at them in the face. But they hold. They hold until the right moment. And the victory that was unimaginable, that has never happened before, just happened. And that's the beauty of diamond hands. That is the beauty of the short float. Every time they attack us, they get weaker because they are losing shares. And they need to collect these shares because they need to cover, right? And there's tons and tons of shares out there that they need to cover. Failed to deliver. I covered that in my last video there. Over 600,000 failed to deliver shares as of middle of January. If these shares are not covered, the SEC is going to know, and the other regulators are going to know something illegal has been happening. But I mean, in the Ask Me Anything with Cuban, he pretty much said the SEC are crooks and they're useless and they only back the big boys, right? So I don't know how much we can expect from the SEC, but these shares need to be covered regardless. And that is what we're waiting for. That is why we're holding like diamond hands. So this is Mitch signing off for now. Just giving you a quick GameStop update. Hold the line, guys. A glorious victory is coming. Nothing has changed with GameStop. The thesis is still in play. Short squeeze is still in play. The management team is still in play. Turning around the business is still in play. And especially right now with this entire thing going on, Netflix making a movie, where do you think everyone's buying their games and all their game paraphernalia? GameStop, right? So their e-commerce channel right now is blowing up. We're going to hear about it in their year-end financials as well as guidance into this year. So it's going to be amazing when they drop their financials also. Alright guys, this is it for now. I'm going to see you guys on the next update. Take care. Bye for now. GameStop to the moon.